Okay, so we are now in 1 Thessalonians 2, and we're going to dive a little bit more into what Paul is having to kind of encounter with the opposition there in Thessalonica. You know, brothers, that our visit to you was not a failure. Again, he's just jumping right in. Okay, this was not a failure. And the Greek word there is hollowness, devoid of truth, empty-handed, without a gift, without effect, fruitless, futile. He said that was none of that. We came, there was fruit. You saw that. This is what he just talked about in chapter 1. You came to Christ because of the conviction there. It was not hollow. There was plenty of truth, and you accepted that truth. So therefore, there was great effect from our ministry there. So he's establishing that. You know that this was not a failure, even though other people are going to try to say this. We had previously suffered and been insulted in Philippi, as you know, but with the help of our God, we dared to tell you his gospel in spite of strong opposition. So in Acts 16, we read in verse 16 to 14, you see that this ministry in Philippi ended up landing them in prison. That's where the Philippian church, because of the jailer and the walls shaking, this is where that church began. So they know that background because that's where he came from, was from Philippi, then going to Thessalonica. So they understand that background. And he's saying that, and we were insulted and we suffered for a time there. And even after that, we still dared, knowing that there was going to be strong opposition coming to your area. We knew we could be in prison. So what was the motive for us? If it was for our own greed and own benefits, what would we get out of it? Because we knew we were coming into strong opposition area. It wouldn't even make sense. For the appeal we make does not spring from error or impure motives. Impure even meaning mixed here. We weren't coming with mixed motives for our benefit and our benefit only, or some deceptive ways, nor are we trying to trick you. Again, we're not, and the word trick there is using bait or decoys. We were not coming with bait or decoys or anything to try to get you to follow us just because we wanted you to follow us and to receive our gospel. I mean, if they had other bad motives, why would they even try to come? So, I mean, it would do them no good. On the contrary, we speak as men approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel. This is our motive. We were entrusted with the gospel to share it with you and with others. And that is our goal, is to spread the gospel across the world. We are not trying to please men, but God, who tests our hearts. He's the one who tests our true motives, and not these other people, not these other Jews, these unbelieving Jews that are coming against us and questioning our motives. It is God who tests our hearts. You know, we never used flattery or manipulation, nor did we put on a mask to cover up greed. They weren't coming for the money. And we've read that he didn't even allow for many of the churches to support him because they didn't want the churches to even have that belief. God is our witness. We were not looking for praise from men, not from you or anyone else. So clearly, I mean, this whole paragraph, we're seeing that there is that great attack on Paul's integrity, and that's coming from these unbelieving citizens that are here in Thessalonica, mostly the Jews. Some were from the Greeks, but it was mostly the Jews that were in this area that were coming against him. And they saw Paul was the source of their problems. So they were coming against his motives in order to discredit him. Now, the claims that they make is, one, he was after money. And they were saying, well, he converted many rich women, and Jason, being a wealthy man, he converted all these people to use the wealth for his own purposes. And also these wealthy men and women that were converted were housing the missionaries that were coming. But that was clearly not his motive, but yet these are the claims, these are the false claims that were being put against these people, against Paul and his companions. It's crazy. All these things that take place in these books, they still apply today. And you see that often happening as somebody who does follow Christ, that even in the own Christian world, we can really bash people, and we can bring them down and twist their motives and spread lies about people, and it happens a lot. No, we should test, just like the Bereans did. We should always test to see if it's true or not. But also check your own motives. What is your motive? Are you trying to discredit and destroy somebody at the same time? So the other claims is that Paul left abruptly. And so they were saying that he didn't care. He left these people orphaned. All of these things, even though that wasn't true, again, Paul had to leave because of them, of the people that were pushing them out, and for the safety of Jason and the people that were helping them. They wanted to protect them. But all of this was being used to discredit Paul and to manipulate the scenarios. And so Paul again is saying, you experienced the power and truth for yourselves. You saw it. You experienced it. You believed it. So you believe the work of God. So then he continues on. As apostles of Christ, we could have been a burden to you, but we were gentle among you, like a mother caring for her little children. We loved you so much that we were delighted to share or impart to you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well, because you had become so dear to us. Surely you remember, brothers, our toil and hardship. We work night and day in order not to be a burden to anyone while we preach the gospel of God to you. So again, he was using his trade to do the work. Now we got to go back to a couple words here. But we were gentle among you. That word gentle is actually child or infant. So what Paul is saying, we were innocent. We were just as innocent as a little baby. But he also uses a couple other words here, because then he says like a mother or a nursing mother. I love how the CJB phrases it. As emissaries or disciples of the Messiah, we could have made our weight felt. I mean, they were prominent people. They could have very much put that on the people, but they chose not to. But instead, we were gentle, as I was saying, is that innocence. We were gentle. We were innocent. When we were with you, we were childlike. Like a mother feeding and caring for her children. That's our heart is intent. That was the word there again is a nursing mother, one that is suckling her baby in her arms. And that's how they cared for these people. We were so devoted to you that we were glad to share with you not only God's good news, but also our own lives, because you had become very dear to us. For you remember, brothers, our toil and hardship, how we worked night and day, and did not put a burden on any of you while we were proclaiming God's good news to you. So this is the heart of Paul in this ministry to the Thessalonians. And they were saying this, we came to you in pure innocence. We didn't have any of the motives that these people are saying about us. We came to you because of just love and our heart for you. We were willing to take on the burdens of your people rather than you take on the burdens of us, because that's how great our heart is for you. So we'll leave off here and pick up tomorrow in verse 10.